Any city anywhere has its share of accomplishments and its share of problems. Grants Pass and its sister city of Rubtsovsk share some common concerns on the social front. Both struggle with money and resources to tackle community problems, and both are worried about substance abuse and its part in crime problems. But both are working hard to make sure that their kids are ready for the future. There's probably nothing like it in the American education system, certainly not in Southern Oregon. Every year on September 1st, Soviet school children put on their best clothes, flowers in hand, celebrate the new school year with a day of knowledge. Students in Rubtsovsk's 22 schools were introduced to their teachers while anxious parents watched. One of the youngest students rings a bell to signal the beginning of a school year that will run to the end of May. Russian students begin the first grade when they're about 7 years old. The oldest students, usually 11th graders, have the honor of handing out first readers to the youngest students. Grants Pass Mayor Candy Bartow had her own words of encouragement to the Soviet students.
Study hard and have fun. Пожалуйста, учитесь хорошо и хорошо проводите свое свободное время. Спасибо.
The Soviet emphasis on education begins at the earliest age. Rubtsovsk has dozens of kindergarten and daycare centers. In most families, both parents work, so daycare is a key thread in the social fabric. You get the clear feeling here that children are well cared for, but they're also allowed to have fun. The day before school begins, older students gather a few kilometers outside the city for a day of sport activities. This is not your regular Olympic-type event. If you want some fun, try playing blind volleyball. Put up a sheet or blanket between the teams. And if you ever felt like you were all thumbs putting up a tent, you might try it like this team, pitched on its side with the floor to the sky. And with the rafting tradition in Rubtsovsk, a dry land raft rally seems a natural. The spirit of cooperation shown at the Field Sport Day also shows up again when the 3 American teenagers in the delegation hiked into the Altai Mountains with their Russian hosts. There, the international group hiked to the top of one of the highest peaks, raising both the American and Russian flags in a show of friendship and cooperation.
I made some lifelong friends there, and I just hope that we can open the doors enough to where we can travel easier someday in the future.
People just took you right in, you know. You didn't know somebody, but you felt like you knew them for 1,000 years.
The Russians and the Southern Oregonians certainly shared many positive experiences, but they also spent some time talking about the downside of life. Roads and streets continue to plague city officials and Russian motorists. Most of the summer, a portion of the city's central heating and hot water system was disabled while repairs continued. And crime, which draws a lot of resources from the budgets of most cities, takes on a different flavor here. We spoke with Police Chief Simeon Pavlovich. Like the drug problem blamed for most of the crime in Josephine County, Pavlovich says alcohol causes most of the trouble his department has to deal with.
As a rule, children who study very bad, who are brought up not in their own way, just in most cases, such children are from the families whose parents are just drug takers or alcoholics, and such children very often become criminals.
Traffic patrol is also a key role for the city's police force. While there are strict laws for motorists, we observe that many drivers appear to disregard speed limits and pedestrian crosswalks. Traffic control may be a continuing difficulty, but one of the bright spots for Rubtsovsk residents appears to be the city's library system. There are 9 library branches scattered throughout Rubtsovsk. And now, the Rubtsovsk Library has some new books to show off, courtesy of the Josephine County Library. The literary heritage is not the only thing that Rubtsovsk and Grants Pass residents have in common. They also share a rich religious background. And recent changes in the Soviet Union show that religion is undergoing a resurrection. More and more citizens of Rubtsovsk and many other Soviet cities are turning from 70 years of communist atheism to traditional Russian Orthodox doctrine, and a brand new law prevents the government from interfering in religion. Father Nikolai is pastor of the only church in this city of 176,000 people.
Все мои обращения к ним в отношении либо не отвергать.
To help our church. Sometimes they help to repair our church. Though they are communists, but still they help us very much.
Most of the parishioners appear to be elderly, often standing for hours to hear the service in the old Russian dialect. But many choir members are young. Father Nikolai says 2 years ago he performed about 3 weddings a year. He now does about 15 a week. Another sign of the increasing interest in religion may be seen in cemeteries. Older tombstones display red stars indicating Communist Party affiliation, but many newer graves boldly display the cross of the Russian Church. And no doubt more changes are on the way.
And now people on the Rogue and in Russia have a chance to closely follow the changes affecting each other. The sister city agreement linking Grants Pass and Rubtsovsk is by no means a one-shot deal. We'll take a look at the future of Grants Pass's relationship with its Siberian sister city when we return. If you had told people in Grants Pass a year ago that they'd have a sister city in the Soviet Union, you'd have got some pretty funny looks from people on the street. But what seemed so unlikely then is a reality now, all written down in black and white.
Ну что, не надо уже все. Ну, разрешите поздравить тогда.
With that, Grants Pass, Oregon and Rubtsovsk, Siberia parted the Iron Curtain and became sister cities. Under the sister city agreement signed by both mayors, exchanges will take place next year, with the host cities' committees paying the expenses of the touring group within that host country. Next summer, officials of Rubtsovsk are expected to be in Grants Pass. Then in 1992, the invitation is out for the Grants Pass group to return to Rubtsovsk to help celebrate the Soviet city's centennial. Delegations in the future are likely to include student and cultural groups, industry and civic leaders, and city officials. The visit of the Grants Pass group was widely hailed in the Soviet press, from the Rubtsovsk daily Communist Call newspaper to all the domestic news broadcasts of Radio Moscow on August 27th.
This is Radio Moscow. News.
Rubtsovsk residents were warm and friendly to the Grants Pass delegation and seemed anxious to share in the sister-city relationship.
I think that the life of all the citizens of Rubtsovsk will be more interesting and will have more advantages in association with the Americans, and it's very important for us. I think it's a good opportunity to learn about each other more than we knew before, and I think we'll work together and stand for peace.
6 days of travel to and from Rubtsovsk and the memories made there left a strong impression on members of the American group, who say the effort to break down decades of misunderstanding will pay dividends in the future.
The whole thing was just wonderful. The people were great. I felt so comfortable. It felt like going back home.
That's what the whole program is about, is going out and touching others with the magic we've been touched with.
Both mayors, Candy Bartow of Grants Pass and Lev Korshinov of Rubtsovsk, have high hopes for the future.
So I think we've gone far beyond anything that was expected of us. We've made a number of contacts in both directions now, and I think we're going to see a lot of new things coming out of the whole adventure for us.
I come to the conclusion that we have a lot to learn from you now to solve our problems, and maybe we have something that you can take from us and to learn from us.
Now the official documents are signed. But what will become of this association, this city-county, sister-city relationship? If no further contacts are made, only memories in the minds of those who have met and shared their lives together. but perhaps people reaching out to people will further strengthen Soviet-American ties. We'll give you more glimpses of those ties and friendship as we leave you this evening. Thanks for watching, and good night from Russia to the road. I'm Ron Brown of the Newswatch. We'd like to offer a special thank you to Premier Auto Center for making this program and our trip to Russia possible.
From the Road to Russia has been brought to you by Premier Auto Center, Grants Pass.